Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Well, folks, y'all know what time it is. It's the midnight hour. So just sit back, relax. Hope you guys got something to drink here. So let me tell you what I got tonight here. Tonight, we have a James Bond martini, even with the olives there, people. That's right. Shaken, but not stirred. Got a little bit of espresso. Tonight, we are going to be smoking an Alex Bradley Tempest Nicaraguan. This is a box press cigar, so we're going to get a lot of good smoke out of that. Of course, I always got my water. And I almost forgot to do, got to put on a little bit of Davidoff cool water here. Alright, now that we got some cool water, it's time to get cool here, folks. So let's start with the questions. What y'all got for me tonight? Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Let's start with this here. No, I'm not going to wrestle. Blaha. Pugman, what's up, dog? What's up, Johnny Phantom? It looks like we got more people here. So, like I said, the only thing that's been going on lately, as far as I'm concerned, I've been a little bit busy, not been filming as many YouTube videos. I know that. I mean, I've been just working a lot on the e-commerce sites lately there. So, but I'm going to actually start doing I'm going to put in a second live stream, probably call it Martini Monday or so forth. I just got to figure out a date. So if you guys got any suggestions as far as to what a good date and time is, you know, I'm open to suggestions here. So, so let's see what we got. What is my net worth there? It's a little over 100,000. If you count it's probably valued more because that's not including the value of my business operations or anything like that. But remember, 100,000 is not really much for a guy like me that's 45 years old. You need at least $1 million in order to actually truly retire. So I'm actually behind on the 8 ball as fat. Remember, it's not net worth that really matters. It's a matter as far as to how much your expenses are. And my goal is to cut down on my expenses as best as I can, so that way I don't need as big of a net worth there. You know, remember, if you're making $1 million and you spend $1,500,000, you're still in the hole basically. So just make sure you remember that. I'm freezing up a bit. Hold on just a minute. It may be because I got the streaming screen on or so forth there. Hopefully that'll clear up. What do I sell online? I sell mainly medical supplies and medical equipment. I also do carry gym and exercise equipment, as well as I do have a Wiccan store that I started up with my ex-husband a long time ago, but I actually kept that. Let's see. Yes, I know, Johnny. I need to film more. That's what I was stating there. But we'll do some more live streams. I just got to figure out a good date there. McRibs are nothing but pigs' assholes and other body parts. It's the most disgusting product out there. It's a good martini. All right. Is it still freezing up? Let's take a look and see what's going on here. I'm just going to check the reception real quick. Got to get past the ads. So let's see what we got. I don't see any freezing there. I'm not sure. Oh well. I'm going to hold it down a little bit. Axel, I do invest in stocks and precious metals. I'm sure you guys saw my picture of crypto. I'm pretty much divesting myself of any cryptocurrency. That stuff is just getting wacko, you know. Is my ex-husband mad that I... Well, he has his own husband to buy his own stuff here, so... I mean, we've not been married for at least 8 years, so his new husband can buy him stuff there. If I grab a tackle box and pole and find a spot to catch catfish, you're gonna have to ask him back. You have to ask my Uncle George about that. He's the one that fishes for catfish, not me. So. Hey, well, let's show this here. Yes, the McRibs are made of pig buttholes. Little colorful in the language, but I wanted to go ahead and show it there. So let's see. As far as stock gains in precious metals, yeah, it's a good idea to keep that in a safe there. You can't keep stock gains in there, but precious metals, they go up on its own. So there's no need to keep it anywhere. You know, it's going to go up naturally as far as any, commodities are concerned there, which I guess precious metals would count as such there. So, no, Axel, I'm getting out of Bitcoin. When I was in Bitcoin, I was mining it back in 2010. The Bitcoin rush is long over with. You can't really mine it or anything like that, so it doesn't do any good to actually invest in it at this point in time. John Bravo, a cutie, I don't think of him that way. He's just a good friend of mine there. You know, that's all. I mean, he looks like just about any other New Yorker that uses the tanning bed a lot there, you know, so. Yeah, I was going to make a video about Frank Tufano selling milk there. I mean, that's a natural progression because he does sell, I mean, most butchers already sell milk anyway. And since he's buying whole cows, you know, it doesn't put it past me to where he would start selling milk products there. But since milk has a serious expiration date there, he's going to have to be a lot more precise with it as opposed to meat there. So, As I know some people that's bolted down safes there, but the key to a safe is that it's super heavy. It's so heavy that you can't really carry it out, and by the time you manage to do so, the cops will already be there. So if you get a heavy safe there, no one's gonna go and just take it out, or anything like that. I don't pay attention, Brian, to conservative Cubans' Instagram. If he's going to call me out there, he can email me or call. Like I said, I'm not big on Instagram. You may see me on the Joe Piotaro's show, but other than that, I don't keep up with conservative Cuban. I'll check and see what he said about me. Do I enjoy being alone or lonely? I mean, it doesn't bother me one bit whatsoever. I always have company over. I have friends and everything like that. But you have to remember, I was already married for so long. And, my ex was pretty much social. So, I mean, I still keep a lot of friends and stuff like that. You never get lonely as long as you got your friends there, whether they drop by or, whether they come up here on this live stream, as long as you got people around, you're going to be just fine. Bro Train, gold will be very hard to crash there, and as far as the supply in Uganda, they'll probably spend it on malt liquor or something. I don't know. A lot of these African countries are wasting their money whatsoever. Axel Fuzz, yes, Bitcoin has been around actually since 2008, actually. Bitcoin's been around a long time. I mined it in the early days here. That's the only time you could have made money. Now, my biggest mistake was actually selling it there. But at the same time, if I was able to know the future, if I was able to borrow Dr. Emmett Brown's time machine, I definitely wouldn't have sold it. I would be definitely a multimillionaire. Well, Pugman, you gotta have, you'll have to have some good wood structures there, but it should be fine as long as it's evenly spaced out. J Masters can't lift the safe. I mean, we're talking about 2 to 3 tons at least. It's not going anywhere. I do have some property Exploring Angel out in Texas there, but it's practically worthless. It's desert land. I don't even collect rent from the rattlesnakes here, so. Well, you got to enjoy yourself, Axel. There's nothing wrong with having a martini, Not only that, remember, I'm at home, so I'm making my own home martinis. Now, if I went to a bar, it'd be about $6 for that. So, yeah. Yeah, I see it's freezing up a little bit here. Not sure anything like that here. Give me just a minute. Not sure what's causing that. Pugman, I'm not going to dump the stock until I turn 55, which is just going to be in 9 years. If I go and dump it right now, what's going to happen is I'm going to be penalized. I'm going to be penalized about 20%. Then I have to pay taxes on that. But again, as always, thanks for the large donation. I really appreciate you supporting the channel there. But yes, anytime, unless you're 55 or so forth, or 55 is going to be the minimum age to where under certain circumstances that you can withdraw your 401k or any stocks there. My stocks are in a 401k, so I can't really touch that until I'm 55. I can borrow against it. I can take a portion out of it there. But you definitely don't want to cash it out there, because Because if I cash it out after taxes, it would be a little over $40,000. Why deal with that? Especially when you don't need the money, so. Who is your Christina Broccolini god goddess? You'll have to elaborate on that, Brotein, but we got 2 hours to do that. What do I think of a vegetarian diet, but still eat eggs and dairy like whey? Well, recently Bill Pearl passed away, and he was on that same vegetarian diet. And Bill Pearl's one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time, even better than Arnold. I mean, better than Arnold Schwarzenegger. A legendary bodybuilder, and he was on that vegetarian diet where, you know, he just had dairy products and stuff. So, you know, he's getting complete protein in. Bill Pearl's diet consisted of wholesome foods. He didn't have a particular diet, low carb, high carb, or anything like that. He just ate well and he trained heavy. Would I vote for Ron DeSantis? No. I wouldn't vote for Ron DeSantis at all. The reason being, now recently he's been shipping a lot of immigrants over to Martha's Vineyard. First off, I don't give a shit about those people at Martha's Vineyard. They're a bunch of stuffy, cheese and wine eating motherfuckers, you know. So I don't really care about that whatsoever, or any of these liberals. One thing I do care about there is the fact that, you know, human beings should not be used for props. These are, you know, they may be migrants, they may be illegals, but they are still human beings. So it's not good to just use them as a political prop. There's a better way of getting your message across than just lying to them and shipping them all over the place. Let's see. Do you think Trump will run again in 2024? No, he's not going to run. He'll say that he's running, but he's not going to run for office. You got to remember, Trump is at that particular age, and not only that, from what I'm understanding, his wife doesn't want him to run neither. But again, this is Trump we're talking about. If he does run, I don't expect him to win. I actually expect DeSantis to run for office, because that's the whole thing. He's been doing all this in order to make his mark for running for presidency in 2024. But no, Trump is definitely not going to run, if I know better. So. Yeah, 2020 was a good year, except the only problem was I was still employed by Verizon. Remember, you can't cash out a 401k unless you no longer work for the company. So that is a no bueno. But what position would you rather be in? Would you rather be at a point to where you are out of a job and you have to cash that in, or what? You know, it just really depends. Now, where is my lighter? I'll be right back, folks. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. Found my lighter. It was right under my keyboard, so. Blaha, I am definitely not a Democrat there. If you guys have been listening on my channel, I am definitely not a Democrat. Bill Pearl started a vegetarian diet, I think, in either the 50s or 60s. It was definitely while he was still competing. He was big on the Jack. He was big with Jack LaLanne. Jack LaLanne also had pretty much almost a vegetarian vegan diet. $50, yes. If you're furloughed, you can liquidate your 401k. But if you're working and presently employed, you can't really liquidate it without penalty or so forth. But I'm not going to liquidate mine. I was still employed, so there wasn't really much I can do. Yes, Pugman, it is Purple Flame time. I have no clue. I have no idea why that does that. I think I found out that it's actually just my cheap webcam, but I'm going to be taking care of that again. Thanks again for the huge donation there, definitely appreciate that. I may have to talk to your accountant there, so shoot me a dim on that there, so. Well, Brian, I actually voted for Mitt Romney. I didn't vote for I did vote for Mitt Romney for president there. I did not vote. Liz Cheney lives in Wyoming, so I wasn't eligible. I don't live in Wyoming, but I probably would have voted for her too. So at the time. Stan Efferding, Stan is a moron. You eat too much red meat there, it'll cause high cholesterol and cancer. That's what took out Matarazzo. He was eating 5 pounds of ground beef every single day. That's definitely not going to be good for the heart. Neither is cigars, but, you only live once there. Not only that, you don't inhale cigars, If you had to take a pick between cigars and 5 pounds of red meat every day, that's going to clog your arteries. This year, the only thing I get is the smell of smoke and the flavor. I don't support universal income because you're going to end up finding people will work for their money and other people that don't. That's the way Cuba is. I do support an increase in minimum wage there. It should have naturally, there should have been a natural progression by employers, but it doesn't seem to be the case. I was thinking that would happen in 2016. But again, these employers are not doing it there. And people can't live off, $8 or $9 an hour. Now, Axel, that's up to Pugman to answer how anyone makes any money or so forth there. Dusty, everything has to be done in moderation. As long as you eat eggs and meat and dairy in moderation, you're not going crazy with it, you're fine. It's just like cigars. I'll have a little tiny cigar, usually once a day or so forth, just like this. But if I'm smoking 5 cigars a day or so forth, like your average person, then you got problems. You want to always do things in moderation. Quick pump, I will never do the carnivore diet. That is one of the most stupidest diets out there. People are going to die from that. Tech stocks, hey, remember what I said? I need to go speak to your accountant there, so. Yes, Aaron, I'm going to start using Streamlabs next week there. I just didn't have time to get that set up. Now, of course, I do have a PayPal account that you can donate to as well. So let me put that in here. Hold on just a minute here. I guess it won't allow me to do it there. Oh well. Oh, there we go. Got it. So if y'all want to donate there, my PayPal account is that actually. That goes to my business site. You can be healthy better off without eating animals here. Well, it goes in 2 parts here. On a vegan diet, it's harder to get a complete protein source in place there. Not only that, you know, one thing you do have to remember is I was on a vegan diet for years back in the late 90s here. But a lot of people just simply don't have the smarts to actually do a vegan diet. It takes a lot of work to do a vegan diet and to do it properly. Also, a vegan diet isn't universal. If you go to a third world country, you know, they're going to eat whatever's available. So it's not something that can be universally done. That's for rich people's companies here, so countries. Bradford, I'm not sure how long you've been smoking 3 to 4 cigars a day. You're probably not going to notice any effects here if you smoke it right, because the thing is, you don't inhale cigars. I just try to stick with 1 good cigar a day, you know, and it's usually at nighttime. Veg protein and greens are perfectly fine there. Like I said, I have no problems with people that are on a vegan diet. It's just not something that I'm going to simply do. I've done it before. By the way, Vega protein wasn't even around at the time. And since I lived in Nashville, I was too poor to purchase things like tofu. But I still had a well-established diet there. There's a lot more vegan products than they were, 20 some years ago. So you just have to think of the error in time as far as the when. There it is here. Pugman, universal income is one point there. but there has to be an incentive to actually progress there. What I don't agree on is no one should ever be poor, be without a house, should never be without, food and running water and stuff. There should be a basic income subsistence, in other words, here. From that point, you should have a baseline, especially in this country, to where you have established food, you have established living quarters, you have established medical care, and from there, you should have the ability to earn from it there. There still has to be an incentive to do more with yourself, whether you're an artist, whether you're a musician, whether you're a welder or so forth. That incentive still has to be there. That's the same thing that Star Trek always had there. They established all those, but they still gave that incentive to where people can gain more by working. What is my favorite cigar to smoke? That would be a Gurkha Hudson Bay. Either that or a good. I mean, I always talk about Dominican rolled cigars, which is what I smoke as a daily smoke. But the Gurkha Hudson Bay just has some good Nicaraguan tobacco. Has great flavor, and it has a great price to it. I always keep them in my humidor. As far as vegan gains is concerned, I did see him bench 315. Uh, as far as protein deficient, I can't really answer that. I'm not his doctor or so forth. He would have to show his medical records or so forth. Every food does have a complete amino acid profile up to a point there. But there are certain minerals that you can only get in meat products here, and not in any vegetables here. Well, Brian, I talked about this last week there, and I've also made the point you should only what was it? It was you should only have 1 gram per kilogram of body weight there. And my normal protein intake is about 70 to 100 grams a day of protein. Because carbohydrates is going to give you the energy to do those hardcore workouts. What you have to watch out is for the caloric intake. As long as you keep your caloric intake below your maintenance calories there, you should be fine as far as losing weight, and you can still keep muscle. These 1 gram per pound of body weight or 2 grams per pound of body weight, it's all just to sell supplements here. Many great golden age bodybuilders established that same diet, from Steve Reeves, George Eferman, Armand Tandy, Vic Tanny, his brother, and everything like that. So, and Jack LaLanne there, you don't need a high protein diet, believe me. Axel, my ex, was big on camping, so we used to camp a lot. Me personally, I do like camping, but only when I have friends along there and plenty of beer. How many times a day or week do I eat animal products? Probably once a day. Then there's a couple of days where I don't eat any animal products at all, though. What you'll see me eating most often is steel cut oats here. That's one of my favorite foods, as well as basmati rice. having a bowl of steel cut oats in the morning, it gives you plenty of energy. You know, I can work out and do some cardio and everything. Yeah, Robin. Actually, me and my ex actually had a pug. He actually has a pug now. There. Pugs are very hyper animals here, but you got to make sure their diets are right because they can get really big real quickly. Actually, if you were stranded in a desert, a plate of broccoli would actually be better because you would actually have water out of that broccoli. There's no water in a Big Mac, so so no. If I was stuck in a desert, I would eat a plate of broccoli over a Big Mac. National socialism. Well, I got news for you, Quick Pump. We already have socialism in this country. That's Social Security. We have SNAP benefits, but we have it on a limited basis here. From what I've been seeing Richard do as far as his diet, I don't think he's eating a lot of sweets and a lot of unhealthy foods and stuff there. So uh, now he can always prove me wrong because it's been a while since he's actually filmed a "What am I eating in a day" type thing. Cubans are overrated. Wonder why they blocked that. They were probably thinking that you were making a racist statement, but as far as Cuban cigars are concerned, yes, they are indeed overrated. People want what they can't get, in life. The only reason why people want Rolexes is because they can't afford it. And people will do some shady things in order to afford it. Bobby, I used to have 5 cats with my ex there. I love cats. I'll probably get a cat now that I'm no longer working at Verizon. But if I am going to get a cat, I'm going to go to an animal shelter. I'm not going to go to one of these cat farms or anything like that. There's plenty of cats in a shelter that are looking for homes. And if you don't get the cats there, they just put them to sleep and everything like that. And I can't deal with something like that. Everyone should, if someone wants any type of animal, the first place they need to go to is an animal shelter, because it's better to preserve these animals than have them put to sleep there like PETA does. But Bobby, thanks again for the donation there. Like I said, I'm going to have to get into some of those tech stocks here. Robin, I still have Rush Limbaugh ties in my closet, actually. Rush Limbaugh was a polemist there, and he didn't win himself any fans or anything like that. But Rush Limbaugh was part of that old generation of shock jocks, just like Howard Stearns was here, Uh, that type of comedy is going out. People have now lost their sense of humor these days. Even when I tell some jokes on on some of my videos, I always have some lib up there telling me that I've told an inappropriate joke, you know. No, I never met Leroy Colbert. I've only spoken with him uh, through email correspondence there, but I've never met Leroy before. Great bodybuilder, the first man with 20-inch arms. Uh, it was pretty sad the way he went there, and stuff, falling on that counter and everything. What do I put in my oatmeal, my steel cut oats? Well, I eat it like a good Roman does here. with a little butter or salt or putting a little olive oil in it there. I just like my oats very simple. Back in the times, in Roman times, you actually have to pay to in order to get your bread cooked. So a lot of people at home, they made stuff like called polas, which basically is taking some oats, crushing it a little bit, and mixing it with olive oil and salt. Uh, that's what the most of the poor people in Roman times used to do. The rich would add other ingredients like honey and other stuff. You may think of honey as something that you can regularly get at the store, but back in those times, Roman ages there, honey was a luxury item, especially so was meat and exotic animals and stuff. But I eat my oatmeal the ancient Roman way, so. I've had it. I mean, I'm not past putting bananas and stuff in it there. I will do that on occasion with cinnamon. I'm just I just keep mine simple. I also cook my oats overnight there as well. I just cook them, and then once the water's boiling, I turn off the heat and come back the next day. The oats are perfectly good. No, animal shelters don't just have pit bulls. There's plenty of good animals in there. I mean, what's wrong with a pit bull anyway? As long as you get it properly trained, it's not going to go bite anyone. It's not the animal's fault. It's human nature and human behavior. What you teach your animal is how your animal's gonna act. If you teach a pit bull how to fight and stuff like that, like Michael Vick with the dog fighting, then that's exactly what you're gonna get. There's plenty of friendly pit bulls. Animals inherently are not aggressive or mean or anything like that. Animals like pit bulls do not have a human trait there. I mean, if you don't like pit bulls, I can understand that, but you can get any type of. There's plenty of other animals in there. Just don't go to any of these animal mills or stuff like that. Those places are horrible. As far as those breeding places are concerned, there's plenty of good animals at the animal shelter. It's better to get one from them before they go and put them to sleep or anything. Does weed affect training? Weed will give you an appetite there, but for me, it's an individual thing. For me, I don't smoke weed because I don't like the smell of it for starters, and also it puts me to sleep, so it does affect my general thinking there. But to each its own. Well, remember, I've gotten older and wiser, Brian. So, yes, I was on Dave Palumbo's keto diet whenever I was competing. So, those times have actually changed there. There's a big difference between, and not only that, I was taking some stuff there, not illegal or anything like that, but I was taking supplements from ALR as well as a couple other places that really weren't too good for me that has caused me a lot of even medical issues even to this day. There's a big difference between me being in my, my early 30s and now being 45 years old. So you live and learn there, in other words. Well, Bobby, the education for a pit bull starts at birth. As long as you care for the animal or put them in a training school or so forth, uh, there's a very low chance that your pit bull is going to go start killing people. But again, a pit bull is a unique animal. Me personally, I like a good basset hound or a pug. Like I said, me and my ex had a pug there. Absolutely adorable. His name was Thorgan, actually. He's long gone now. Like I said, that's the sad thing about pugs. They don't have a very long life there, essentially. They have a very short lifespan as opposed to other dogs. Well, Robin, that's exactly what I stated there. Pit bulls are not for everyone. Some people have pit bulls and they live in apartments and stuff like that. And I've spoken about Richard, my cousin, about having so many animals in an apartment. He needs to really get himself a house and have room for those animals to play. Robin, Kratom is not a great pre-workout. It can be quite addictive, and it's a very strong stimulant there. I made a video on Kratom, or Kratom. I may be pronouncing it wrong. Maybe it's the martini, so. Air Foxies, don't put that up there anymore, okay? What does Blaha think of me? Blaha doesn't like me one bit. He hates my guts. He hates it even more now that I put that audio recording out there, but fuck him, you know what I mean? I mean, that guy killed a dog or allegedly killed a dog. I still gotta say allegedly, but we all know what happened. As well as getting pegged. Basset hounds are very friendly dogs there. But I still wouldn't have it around a 2-year-old child there. It's not the dog you would worry about. It's a 2-year-old child. If it goes and starts pulling on its... and children that age has a tendency to pull and pluck on things. And even a basset hound will bite. So, if it's provoked enough. Andy, even if you don't have a training school, you still got to teach the dog to behave there. You know. Your pug lived 14 years? Wow. Thorgan actually lived about 6 years, actually. We were already divorced and he was still around there, but I think he passed out. My ex now has another pug, so... but he didn't definitely get the 14 years, so... but 14 years, that's a very long time. Bobby, I have no idea how he's able to keep those animals in that apartment there. I have no clue. But once he moves out, he's gonna have to pay for the damages. I can just only imagine the smells. Yes, Quick Pump, I agree. A lot of people get these pit bulls there, and they realize just how much care they take, and they dump them off in a shelter. That's sort of like these Hollywood stars. They'll get these exotic animals, and once their adorableness leaves, then they actually get rid of them. So it's kind of sad. If you get an animal, make sure that you're responsible from its cute times to its old times here. All the way from top to bottom. Do I want to adopt a human? I don't think I'll be having any kids here, but, you never know what happens. I may adopt a kid one day or so forth. You never know as far as that's concerned. You never know what the future has. I always thought I would always work for Verizon the rest of my, until I retired, but that didn't happen. I always thought I was going to be married for a lifetime. That didn't happen neither. You have to go along with what life gives you. You got to take its ups and downs. That's what the nature boy Ric Flair always says. You just have to take life the way it is. Dusty, Vegan Gains makes more than 10,000 a year. The problem is that he's probably spending his money like water. Remember, he still has to pay Canadian taxes. He has all that equipment. And then remember, he's married. So, I mean, his income has to support two different people. On top of that, he has animals that he has to take care of, and all those animals cost a lot. Plus, he actually has a horse that he actually also pays for as well. So all of that money just cuts into 10,000 a month there. Or like I said, he actually makes more. It sounds like a lot of money, but once you start getting into expenses and so forth, apartment rent and stuff like that, it's not really that much. Richard made about 4 times as much as what I would get after taxes at Verizon, but my expenses are quite minimum. I only spent $138 for my computer. My webcam is $10. You know, my home's paid for, you know, and stuff like that. I owe a little bit on the property, but I'm spending like $200 a month on that. I have no credit cards. I have no car payments or anything like that neither. And my car insurance is only $20 a month. I've never been in an accident before. Well, I've been in one accident when I was 19 years old, but you know, if you drive well and you don't have any tickets, you'll have a very low insurance, especially when you have 2 cars for one person. And they're used cars, of course. Yeah, Ice Monkey, I can imagine the smells. Bungie, I'm gonna have to tell you this here. You can have dogs and you can have kids, but the most thing in common, you still got to take care of them. You know, you got to take care. I mean, obviously, a human being requires a lot more care than an animal, but you got to take care of them. Okay. Yeah, Richard's last video had 4,000 views there. I mean, he would have more views if he did more videos there. I think 2 a.m. Vegan actually motivated him in order to, make a couple of cuts of videos. He still has to be pretty careful with that, but I think it's a good idea that he's now making some videos here and not just doing it once a month or so forth. Yes, Robin. Homes in California cost a lot more than here. And remember, I live in an Eclipse 60 mobile home, and I only spent $50,000 for it. Yep, it is Ric Flairing. Verizon wireless gains. I made a ton of money at Verizon there, and I have a lot of stocks and stuff like that. I'm very thankful to have the job. I can always go back to Verizon, but I'm going to do things on my own. Thanks again for the large donation there. I really appreciate that here. So, why all the obsession with vegans? I mean, vegans come after me. I go after vegans. It's all part of mints. So, I mean, we always debate. After people saw my debate with Vegan Gains, I do have vegans that do go after me, which is all the same. It brings more traffic to my site, I guess. Boost Mobile's network, I forgot what network they actually use there. But I don't have really an opinion on Boost Mobile. I still keep my Verizon service. I may switch to Visible but with my wireless home internet, along with other things tied in, it's a lot less expensive for me to keep Verizon service for right now. Well, yes, Vegan Gains makes a lot out of his live streams, but he also has that OnlyFans page too as well. And then he does get donations outside of live streams as well. But again, you have to remember Richard has a lot of expenses. I mean, a whole lot. Apartment, his wife, animals, all the little toys that he has, and everything like that. So he needs to be making a lot of money in order to, afford those things. So the one thing you don't want to have is all your eggs in one basket. If Richard, like before he got kicked off and had his channel deleted there, if he loses out on YouTube, he's going to be in a world of shit here. Dave Palumbo does have 15-inch arms, but remember, he did that. He cut down on that weight for his health, and I think it was a good choice that he made. Dave's always been pretty good to me. We've had our ups and downs there, but Dave's always a good person. I always go to him for advice there. He's like that big old sage there, so. Ice Monkey, the reason why he has so many animals is him and Jasmine have an obsession with animals and saving them. Although I don't know where they got the rabbit from there. I remember that they actually did purchase some sort of wild wolf dog back then, and they actually fed it meat a couple of years ago. But they're just animal lovers, which is not a problem at all, except they live in an apartment. And like I said, they need to get a house with some space for those animals. It's not going to be good for them. Your pit bull lived to be 15 years old. That's awesome. I mean, that's a pretty long life. I don't know how long pit bulls are supposed to live, actually. Do I recommend people move to Piedmont? I like Piedmont. Piedmont's pretty quiet. It's a very rural area. Uh, and where I live at, I'm about 10 minutes away from downtown Greenville. But Piedmont is just one of those old rural Mayberry type places, if that makes any sense. It's one of those Andy Griffin areas. There's not much I can talk about as far as Jason Genova is concerned. I've not spoken to him in like at least 6 months or so. Piedmont is getting expensive? No, it's cheap here. It's cheap. I mean, that's exactly what this is. This is rural South Carolina. This is out in the country. It's quiet. I can keep my doors unlocked here. But there's absolutely nothing to do in Piedmont except drink. Oh yeah, I watched the Chiefs game last night. That was an awesome game. Did you see that I saw that. Did you see that? Hope you saw that slam. Uh that slam was awesome right at the goal line. Just he slammed him so hard that ball fell out, but that was a great game. Having kids will significantly no, it'll actually increase your quality of life there, actually. Both kids and animals can increase your quality of life, that's for sure. But everything in life takes work. Have I ever taken psychedelics? I've done X before. but I've never done meth or anything like that, you know. But that was back in the late 90s. I haven't taken any hardcore stuff like that. Bobby, this here is a Invicta Quadra Pro. This is it's a mechanical watch actually. It's definitely not as expensive as a Rolex. It's about $300, but again, as always, thanks for the large donation here. So, I've not spoken to Andrew in about at least 2 years, at least there. But I know he lives nearby, so. Do you think Brady can win one more with the Bucks? I don't think so. He has too many distractions, such as his wife. Don't forget, Gronk is actually retired for good, so he doesn't have him to go to. But you never know with Brady. Brady can win the Daytona 500 in a Geo Metro, so he's just that good. So we'll see how the season goes. They played good the other day there, but I think the biggest thing is that's going to affect him is not really Gronk, but it's his wife. You know, him and his wife are separated. They're living in separate houses, and that has to be a serious distraction. Ice Monkey, you took the words right out of my mouth. I do have an announcement about that. The VinceGoodrum.com site you can go to, but I'm also going to set up a forum as well as hosting some banned videos that I have. So that way, you'll get all the piss that you want there. But that'll be coming soon. I'm going to set up the forum probably Tuesday and start on that. What's my favorite movie? I'm going to Get You, Sucker. You know. The Wayans brothers, that's how the Wayans brothers put meat in the seats here, you know. Brady needs to retire, actually, for the sake of his wife there. There's nothing that he has to prove anymore. I don't even know why he's still playing. Yeah, I saw that pick six, Dusty. That was freaking awesome there. But he just threw. I mean, that's the one thing about the quarterback here. He has to be very careful and not make these. You make a little mistake in the NFL and they're going to get you on it. I like a few of John Carpenter's movies. Not all of them there. It just varies, as with any other movies. Have I ever been robbed? Yes. I got a little story about that. One time, this is back when I lived in Asheville. This is one of the reasons why I moved away from Asheville. I had a one-bedroom apartment on Ravencroft in downtown Asheville. And I lived on the third floor, and this guy climbed up 3 floors to try to break into my apartment, but I had an alarm. I went and said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he goes and snatches my wallet off the coffee table and just ran out. And it's pretty easy to solve that puzzle, if you know what I mean. But the cops caught up with them there, so. That's one of the reasons why I moved out of Asheville. Too much crime. That's the reason why I live out in Piedmont instead of Greenville. Too much crime. You live in a rural area. The worst you have to worry about is people shooting out in the forest, and that's about it. Big Trouble in Little China. Oh, yeah. Oh, Jack Dawson. They're going to do a remake of that, actually. Asheville is hipsterville now, but, the biggest thing is jobs. It's a place where rich people are just, You know, my apartment in Asheville at the time, the studio apartment was $250 a month. That same apartment now is 10 times as much. I think it's close to $3,000 a month because it's in close proximity. It's actually downtown as well. Now, my one bedroom apartment was $395 a month there, but we're talking about 1996 actually. Athens, you have to have a. I didn't have a gun, so I couldn't shoot him. But I mean, they caught up with him there, and you know, it is what it is. Andy, yes, you should be able to defend yourself. However, if you're the one that provoked and punched someone in the face there, and then they try to assault you, then you're in the wrong. So it depends on those particular circumstances. Self defense is only when you didn't provoke the original offense to begin with. Ice Monkey, places are not expensive. Just get yourself a mobile home like the great one did, you know. That's why I got one. I can afford a $250,000 house there for easy with my original pay with Verizon. I could still afford one now, but I don't need all those rooms or anything. Look into getting a mobile home. You'll thank me for it. There's plenty of great ones out there. I went to the movies to watch Tombstone. Tombstone is probably the greatest Western other than what's the name of that other one? The Quick and the Dead. Any movie with those old westerns with Clint Eastwood. Uh, you know, but Tombstone is an awesome movie. You know, the funny thing is that at the time when I went to the movies, I went and saw Tombstone, and then I went and saw Wyatt Earp. I don't know what the heck they did with that Wyatt Earp movie. That thing was garbage. Jesse Lee Peterson, he's an eccentric, he's a very eccentric person, very conservative there. But he's okay. I mean, it's important that, you know, this is a free country. I believe in free speech. So everyone has the right to say what they want, even people like Andrew Tate and anyone else here. At no point in time am I going to ever disagree with someone's freedom of speech whatsoever, you know. Even conservative Cuban, even Jay Masters, it's a free country. We're Americans, you know. This First Amendment. You have a right to say what you want to say, even if someone doesn't like what you say. Yes, Robin, usually when you purchase a house, it's going to be less money there. So I'm glad you did get a home. Apartments are very expensive at this point in time. I've never been to Ireland. I will be going one day. I will go across the pond, and I'll probably stop into Ireland there if I go to Europe, because I'm going to go to every country in Europe if I go when I go there. So Andy, I can't put that comment up there, but no, it's definitely not okay. If you remember my last live stream, it's better not to provoke a situation like that. No, I actually have something else there nowadays there. I'll discuss it on one of my shows one day, but it's not like I'm not armed, but I don't have any actual firearms or anything. But believe me, I'm well protected. Well, Alex Jones, as far as his lawsuit are concerned, I have mixed feelings about it. On one end, it's a First Amendment issue, but on the other end, you know, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater, and that's exactly what he did. But what's going to happen is that a verdict is going to be overturned upon appeal. Just the same with that Westboro Baptist Church situation. Yes, Robin, I've always tried to keep it classy here. Keep it real, tell it like it is. Remember, be nice, be nice. Be nice. Well, let's not attack Jasmine or anything like that. She doesn't really play any part into any antics that Vegan Gains actually does there. You know, it's just like my ex-husband. I don't want anyone getting on him because of the activities that I do. I went to the movies to watch Dances with Wolves. I had I was on a date with this girl at the time, and yes, a female with a vagina and everything like that. We went on a date there. Spent most of the time making out with her, so. But it was a good movie. She was good too, but. Axel, I did do a house tour. I do have it on video. I will do an update whenever I have the time. Brian, that's the only downside at Piedmont. There are no gyms nearby. It takes me about 20 minutes to get to my gym at Sports Club. But they're going to actually renovate it pretty soon because they have some new owners. So it's going to be closed for about a month pretty soon. Yes, free speech is the base of freedom. That's what our forefathers fought for, you know. No, I wouldn't date Wes Watson. Oh yeah, Jack Burton. I like I said, I got a real strong martini tonight, so Florida State is definitely in that shootout with Louisville. I definitely can't wait to see what the end result is with that. Mm. Well, Robin, if you have a mediocre place gym, like I said, if I had a really big house, I would definitely put together my own gym in the garage or so forth. But I just have a basic setup to where when I can't get to the gym, I could still get a good workout in. But if I lived in a large house, I would have a full gym set there, hands down, instead of going to a gym. Sean G, there's about three different Sean G's there. You'll have to be more specific there. There's three Sean G's that I know of itself here. Someone will eventually make some sort of movie. I would say Danknet will eventually make a production, or John Bravo. Am I bisexual or gay? Probably gay. But I have been with women, so here's the thing about the gay community. I will tell them that I'm gay just because if you tell them that you're bisexual, they get all pissed off and everything like that. So I would say bisexual there probably. Yeah, bisexual. Because I always like some tig fat biddies here, so I always like saying. I don't watch too many crime and serial killer documentaries, but I do watch CSI New York and a couple of in Law and Order, you know. But serial killer documentaries, I never got into those. Well, of course, men can look good when I'm bald. What's wrong with being bald? I mean, I look good and I'm bald. Well, Robin, I guess you gotta remodel that there. What kind of razor do I use? I use a Mach 3 at home. When I'm at the gym, I use a Gillette Fusion. Now, I also have a safety razor that whenever I have extra time and I want to, get a really close shave, I'll use a safety razor. You want to use an electric razor first and then use a safety razor. But I'll do that just for fun or so forth. Thanks again for the donation there. I really appreciate that. Yes, Dusty, I would consider myself a constitutionalist. I believe in the Constitution itself there. Our forefathers were really smart whenever they came up with it there. Without the Constitution there, it gives the rules of this country there, And I think it's a good piece. It's a good way, it was written for the past and future, and it can be ratified there. It's something that can be changed at any point in time, no different than prohibition, for example. I went to the movies to see Unforgiven as well there. I used to watch a lot. I used to go to the movies a lot there. Nowadays, I'll watch it on TV. You see, back in the 90s there, we didn't have, VCRs were kind of expensive. And, you didn't have streaming services like Amazon or Netflix or anything like that. So usually, if I wanted to get a movie, I'd go to Blockbuster or so forth, or I would go to the movies. Most of the time, I went to the movies here. You have that stereo system. In the 90s, I went to movies because that was really the only way around. That was the only way you could watch a new movie that just came out. And of course, if you didn't watch the movie or so forth, then you would just have to wait. It's just like music, for example. You could practically see any music video at any point in time. But a long time ago, back in the 90s, you had to watch either MTV Raps or a Headbangers Ball. I used to watch both of those, especially a Headbangers Ball, just to see my favorite music video. Now you can pull up YouTube nowadays and pull it up there. Things were a lot different back then. Well, I still use free weights there, Robin. There, it's all about doing things again in moderation. Don't do these ego lifting like vegan Richard does. Richard's going to be in bad shape in a couple of years if he continues to lift like that. Oh, that Sean G. I mean, he's a pretty smart guy there. I mean, that particular Sean G, as far as he's concerned, just because someone does prison doesn't make him a bad person there. Believe me, I used to be a corrections officer. Not all people that go to prison they're not bad people there. People who go to prison usually are poor people. You've heard that old saying, money walks and bullshit talks there. So yes, UPS and FedEx will deliver here. Prime delivers here. I have Walmart delivery. It comes free. I get a free membership because I have Amex Platinum. All you have to do is give a $4 or $7 tip and you can have your stuff delivered. I've not been in a Walmart in over a year ever since I got the Walmart delivery. No, Dirk, I definitely am not straight. I think most people already know that I'm not straight there. As far as tans, I have dated drag queens before there, and I've dated, so that's generally going to be the case. You have to remember that they're entertainers and performers, and they do take off their makeup afterwards here, but not in the way that Big Lenny is here, remember, when the makeup comes off, it's just a regular person there. You have to remember, most people that do drag, they do it in order to pay the bills here. So, yes, Ice Monkey, I have eaten out a woman before, so. That's the best way to keep a woman. If you gotta, I made a video about Repsion. It's important, if you want a woman to open up like a flower, you got to go down for the taco. You got to go down to the border to get that taco. Yo quiero Taco Bell. I don't live in a trailer park there. I live in the suburbs. That's a stereotype, as far as, because you live in a mobile home means you have to live in a trailer park. I don't live in one. The suburbs I live in is a mix of mobile homes and regular houses. Right next door to me is actually a house, in fact. I was a security guard for 10 years at American Security. It's a great part-time job as well as a full-time job. You just have to have the temperance in order to do a job like that. A lot of people that take up a career in law enforcement or security, they got a chip on their shoulders, and that's not the way to operate. People thought when I was a corrections officer, I beat down people. Believe me, the people that I did beat down definitely deserved it. And I never started anything with any inmate there, so forth. But like I said, when you're in a prison, you're going to have inmates that are going to have a chip on the shoulder, and nothing tempts them more than putting a fist through the face of a corrections officer. So you always got to watch your back there, at any point in time when you're a corrections officer. But being a security officer is a great career as long as you have the temperance and you have the ability to perform the job well. Malak, thanks again for the donation there. I really appreciate you supporting the channel. If you have a question, you can always answer that. You can always ask that, as well as with anything. I'm always here to ask questions. You don't have to pay me to answer questions neither there. That's just, I do this for the mints here. So let's see what we got next here. My Sunday routine is watching football. Prohibition was a bad idea because you're not going to stop people from drinking. That's the same thing with the drug laws itself there that we have ever since Nixon put in all these rules on drugs and stuff like that. It just makes the problem worse there, So I'm definitely glad they got rid of prohibition. They should get rid of these other drug laws as well. That removes the incentive of actually importing gang violence and stuff like that. If drugs were legal, you wouldn't actually have all this. You wouldn't have that situation, And no, not everyone's going to get addicted to drugs or so forth there. And with having legalized drugs, that means you have the ability to actually provide assistance for those that are addicted to drugs. Look at all the other countries out there, like Sweden and all the other European countries. They don't have a drug problem because they don't criminalize drug users. They help them instead. That's why they have you don't hear about these countries having drug issues. Brian, I do miss Blockbuster days to a point there. I like things the way they are now because I don't have to go to the movies. I don't have to go out and, and a lot of times, sometimes when you go and get a videotape there, it's all messed up or someone's copied over it or so forth. And then you got to run back to Blockbuster and get another video or so and wait in line and shit. So. Once I get the forum started at my site vincegoodrum.com, there's going to be some really good mints because we'll be free to actually do what we wish to do, and I won't be bound by YouTube's policies and stuff like that. Because I am running, it is coming to a point where I'm getting flagged there, and stuff. That's why I have to be pretty light, even on these live streams. Hmm. Mm. Yeah, Dusty, I love the Headbangers balls there. I was big in heavy metal. I still am, actually. It's what I listen to whenever I'm working out there. But yeah, I always went, Headbangers ball was the shit, I've been to chiropractors before. They do have they're definitely not a scam or so forth. Just like doctors or cosmetic surgeons or cosmetic surgeons, you have your good ones and you have your bad ones there. Yes, you should not ego lift whatsoever, folks, here. Because the only person you're going to be proving things to is to your doctor. And your doctor's going to think you're an idiot for doing ego lifting. Hmm. There are things in the 90s that I miss there. Everyone wasn't so petty about comedy. If you take in Living Color, for example, just about, and if you guys remember men on films, that stuff wouldn't fly in this day and age. That's why when they tried to do a remake of In Living Color, it didn't go through because, that time has passed. It's the same with Arsenio Hall. It's just the type of stuff you can that was around. You just can't do anything these days. You can't even do comedy these days. Look at all these comedians that are getting attacked, like Dave Chappelle, for example. It's just ridiculous, America is losing its sense of humor, and they keep forgetting about the First Amendment there. They'll agree with the First Amendment only if it suits their needs here. Did I watch Beavis and Butthead or Tom Green? You bet I watched Beavis and Butthead. I need to go see their new movie, actually. But yeah, I love watching Beavis and Butthead. Well, Sean is a good motivational speaker. Like I said, just because someone went to prison, that's what some people get dogged out for going to prison. There's nothing wrong with going to prison. Okay, the thing about it is, sometimes even I can go end up in prison one day for, because people in life can make mistakes here. But it's like when I said as a corrections officer and I told other inmates, as long as you learn from what has happened to you and you make yourself into a better person there. Some people need to go to prison sometimes so that way they'll respect their freedom a lot more. People that go to prison, other than being poor, is the fact that they think they can get away with everything. and they don't appreciate their freedoms that they have until it's taken away. Actually, that's normal for a correction officer. I'd be in pods with dozens of murderers there. I've even had two of them try to kill me before, actually. But that's normal. There's a lot of murderers in any jail or prison. Online shopping is bad for the environment. Yes and no. People are no longer going to the store, so that cuts down on how much gasoline there is. On the other hand, it does take up boxes, but remember, any boxes that you get are recyclable, and they're made out of recycled stuff. So that's a yes or no situation. Did I see any insane workout routines? Yeah, plenty of them. Not so much as insane there, but I did see there was an inmate there that did like 1,000 push-ups every day, then 1,000 sit-ups, and then another 1,000 push-ups, and he did that religiously. He was pretty shredded. He was in really good shape when you do all that. Yeah, Bobby, you got to go for the taco here, so. It's good to have acres of land. I only have a half of an acre, so. I appreciate that, Brian. I try to make this experience pretty enjoyable here. What kind of water do I recommend? That's a good question. I showed this before, I actually have a Primo water filtration, one of those, automatic water filtration. It pours out hot water, cold water, and it actually has a Keurig coffee maker in it. It's a lot less expensive because, I can go down to the store and I can get a 5-gallon water for like $7 there. It's better for the environment, and I'll put it in one of something like a metal canister, and it saves on the environment, and it's a lot cheaper. You're talking about pennies on the dollar for water as opposed to, spending $2 on a bottle of water, And when you have it in a metal container, it's going to be a lot colder too. Oh, Dusty, absolutely. I'll still be doing free live YouTube live stream Q&As here. I don't see any reason why not to. YouTube is not my main source of income. It's my e-commerce sites and my affiliate marketing. So I'll always do the live streams, and I'll answer everyone's questions as best as I can. Freddy Got Fingered was not one of the highlights of Tom Green's career. It was a stupid movie. I didn't like it. I'm not too much really in cars itself there. My favorite car is a Jaguar, but I used to have a Jaguar but nowadays I own a Cadillac. I love my Cadillac, and I have a Mercedes as a work car. My favorite's always been a Jaguar, of course. I'll probably get another one day. No, I haven't picked up the new Megadeth album there as of yet. I've been meaning to do that, but I've been pretty busy lately. Vegan Gains definitely would not have been a good ally back in '99. In fact, if Vegan Gains was around when I was a vegan, we would have thrown him out of the community. Because there's a lot of things, whenever I was a vegan in Asheville, the one thing we didn't do is, what Richard actually does is he eats at KFC and fake meats. That's not something that us vegans used to do back in the day. When you were a vegan in Asheville, you avoided restaurants that serve vegan products there. whatsoever. Uh, I was a lot more hardcore vegan than Richard ever was, at that particular time. I was a lot more hardcore than he was. We would have called at that time. I would have called Vegan Gains a poser, and we probably would have thrown him out of the vegan community. Not only that, our vegan community was all about nonviolence as well. And having someone like Richard around with those violent tendencies wouldn't have been good for hanging out there itself there. But no, we would not have accepted him. He would not have been accepted as a vegan, as part of our vegan community, if he was in Asheville in the '90s. That it wouldn't fly whatsoever. I've never seen a natural bodybuilder at 240 with 20-inch arms or so forth, unless they were fat. I have 20-inch arms, but they've actually shrunk down. They're like 19 and a half, and they're going to continue to go down as I lose weight. Eventually, they'll go back to its normal size, which is 18 actually. But I don't mind because arms look a lot better when they don't have fat. You look a lot bigger when you are at a less weight and a lower body fat. That's just my opinion on it. That's what I heard about the new Beavis and Butthead. Whenever I have time, I'm going to definitely watch it. Gyno is can be hereditary. You don't have to do steroids in order to get gyno. Camasia. Even I have had gyno at one time, and I wasn't in this. I had gyno whenever I was after I got off steroids and went cold turkey, which was a big mistake. It's pretty much subsided at this point in time. My last show, I didn't have any gynecomastia, but it actually has to do not only with the increase of estrogen after taking steroids, but it can also be because you're just a fat person there. But whenever I lean down, you won't see any gynecomastia whatsoever. So it's not something really to worry about neither. It's just a appearance type thing. And if you had if you were self-conscious about gynecomastia, I guess put a t-shirt on before you put your regular shirt on, so and you'll be fine. It is common among middle-aged and older men, and that's due to medication. Actually, most of the time, a lot of medications will actually do that. Don't forget, whenever you get older, your testosterone production goes down. That's why I take DHEA at my age there, but that's perfectly normal. Yeah, Pugman really does take good care of me, and I really appreciate that. I would agree with you on that. That's for sure. But I'm more interested in those tech stocks that he was talking about there. I'm always big in investments here, so. Fernandez, it's okay if you miss some stuff there. Don't forget there's always going to be a replay after the show is. But there's still 20 minutes left, so feel free to ask me any questions there that you have. You read all the Blaha stuff from Jen. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you guys. Thanks for reminding me. I was meaning to come back with you because I went and spoke with my attorneys at Merritt Webb, and what I got was a big hell no to that. They said, no way, don't even think about it, So I won't be able to release the videos. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to try to call Jen up probably one of these days here and actually try to get an official statement. I think that's going to be the best solution to that. But Merritt Webb told me not to do it. And like I said, I've used Merritt Webb ever since I sold Legal Shield. So I've been with Legal Shield for like I've been with them for over 15 years. So I definitely trust their judgment. Folks, remember, when you run a business and you have a lot of money, there's always going to be people that are going to try to take it away there by trying to sue you. So, but that's the whole end point on that. But don't worry, folks. I'll eventually get what I need there. So, ooh, olive. No, you can't claim that you're a plant-based person if you eat meat, then you're not a vegan. If you eat red meat, you cannot be a vegetarian. And there's different types of vegetarians. You have a lacto-octo vegetarian. And sometimes some vegetarians, all they have is just milk. And some vegetarians, they'll have fish, meat, and eggs there. So there's different variations of vegetarians. But one thing as far as vegetarians are concerned, they cannot eat red meat or chicken. Well, I appreciate the compliment, Dale. I'm not related to Frank Thomas at all, but I'm one of those old school lifters. The reason why I've gotten good arms is because of consistency. I did things in moderation. I didn't do any ego lifting or anything like that. Because of that, I didn't get injured like Richard does. It's sort of like a foundation. Richard tries to build his foundation very quickly with the ego lifting. You can't build a house if your foundation keeps falling down. That's why you got to do things in moderation. Because I did things in moderation, the house got built a lot slower than most other people, but it got built. You see, every time Richard makes those gains and he gets injured, those gains go away, That's why he'll never be at my level there. As long as he lifts like that. The vegan diet is one thing, but even without the vegan diet, there's plenty of vegans that look a lot better than me or in better shape there. But they take the same habits as I do, and they don't do any ego lifting. That's what hurts Richard a lot there. He does ego lifting. And you should never do any ego lifting whatsoever. I've not spoken with Richard's family whatsoever, though. I will one of these days, actually. If I ever go to Canada, I may actually visit him there and stuff like that. But it's going to depend on it there. I may not be a welcome visitor, possibly. All right, Robin. Well, thanks again for coming by here. I hope you have a good night. That goes for everyone. Thanks for always hanging out and chilling with me. Hope you guys, if y'all come up here, feel free to bring in a cigar or so forth. Let me just ask you guys, if y'all are smoking a cigar, go ahead and post down below and tell me what type of cigar you're smoking. Or if you're drinking something, go ahead and post down here. Let me know what you folks are drinking tonight there. All hormones, Malak, are important there. They all have their purposes there, including DHT. Every hormone is important there. Well, if your arms are 14 and a half inches, you may not have the genetics to build larger arms or so forth there. I would just recommend looking at your caloric intake there. Uh, because just because I've seen people train their arms and legs every day, but they can still be 14 inches simply because they're not getting enough caloric intake for growth. DHEA is definitely legal. I take 100 milligrams every day of DHEA. It's something that old folks use because as you get older, your body loses that DHEA. So it's good. It's good to maintain. It also is good for the heart as well. Dusty, I would say that's pretty big. Are the olives sour? Well, with them soaked in the martini, I would say a little bit, but they're kind of sweet actually. No, I didn't know that 42% of Joe Rogan's guests were Jewish there. I don't see why that would make a difference anyway there, to be honest with you. Uh, Joe Rogan has a series of fans of all types here. So if Jewish people like listening to the show, more power to them. Big Trips, as far as he's concerned, he drinks cheap beer, but he needs to be a lot more independent there. He needs to get his own house and he needs to establish himself. When I met Monica Brandt, she was pretty stuck up. That's one of the people that I've met up. If you work in the bodybuilding industry, you're going to run into people like Monica Brandt. She has the same attitude as Jamie Easton. Jamie Easton, Easton, she was pretty stuck up as well. That's why in that reality show, she even that I can't remember that lesbian person that was host of the show, Jackie Warner, so forth. That's why she was made fun of Jamie. They're both stuck up. Well, Raleigh's taking that medication there, and plus he's not eating well. I mean, if you looked at him years ago, he used to be a lot leaner, but obviously things have changed. Ah, Vanti, I guess you got some cheroots here. I got a video up here on cheroots here, so good choice there. Raw, he's up here, so I'm more interested in those tech stocks here. So Breeze Lynchy, Mint, Cookie Cutter Vape there. Never big on vapes there. That's a new age thing. You got lemonade, IPAs. All right, Colombian, coffee and water, unsweetened tea. Bird Dog Peanut Butter Whiskey. I've tried that out before. It's very interesting. I like my whiskey straight there, but the thing about drinks is if it's something that you enjoy and like, then like I always say, more power to you. Long as you're having fun, you're chilling out, you're relaxed, you're hanging out with the great one. So that's all that really matters. I've already said Vegan Gains has no self awareness there. He just needs to find himself there. Uh, but I think once he's gonna get a little bit older. It's like many years ago. Before Richard was around. I was probably the most hated person in the bodybuilding and fitness community. But as I got older, I got a lot wiser, and I realized my actions were pretty detrimental, because otherwise I could have worked for a number of supplement companies. I could have been writing for Muscular Development and Iron Man. But because of my arrogant attitude at the time and my chicanery that I committed, I missed out on the boat, and I missed out on a lot of things there. Richard will eventually look back at the past there, and he'll look at his actions here. I'm just glad I went and turned myself around. Now, don't forget, I could still be an a-hole or so forth, but not. I'm definitely not the same person I was many years ago when I acted pretty much similar to Vegan Gains here. I'll be honest with you. Big Trips and Dr. Rackpool are two totally different people, but one thing in common that they have is they have crap content there. I was just focusing too much on Well, like I said, you gotta do things on moderation. Am I on J Masters protocol? Absolutely not. There, I can't eat all that food there. Natural bodybuilding is worth it. Like I said, if you want to compete, if you have the desire to compete at a national or an IFBB pro level, you're gonna have to take gear. You can't turn pro without it. I was the Vegan Gains of the past. In other words, Quick Pump. Like I said, before Richard was around, I was the most hated person in the bodybuilding and fitness industry. You can ask Dave Palumbo, you can ask Ron Harris, or anyone else like that. If they ask of anyone that was the most hated person, that was me. Looks like my cigar is going out there, so. This cigar actually has lasted for quite some time. Felony muscle, it's believable. You can still get steroids in prison. Pugman, I work every day now that I'm no longer working at Verizon, but I've always worked every day. I do some work at a certain capacity. I'm always doing something every day. That's just my general nature. Whether I'm working on my website or whether I'm writing, I always like to keep myself busy. But I work every day, even if it's for a couple of hours. Yes, I would have to say I was also the original Jason Genova as well. If anyone saw the pictures of me from the 2004 Metrolina, yeah. But like I said, things change over time. And I got better at competing. Big Lenny and Brad have gone at it with each other for years, so I don't think it's so much that he's using his content or anything like that. They're just going back and forth right now. Wes Watson, I don't believe he was natural. Flex Wheeler was arrogant. That's a hard question to answer. When I met Flex, he was pretty cool with me there, and stuff like that. But a lot of bodybuilders have to keep an image here. If you've ever watched Sean Ray's videotape, Lifestyles of the Fit and Famous, he drove around in a Corvette with a cell phone, with a car phone in there. So I think at some point in time, every single bodybuilder, even myself, has a level of arrogance at one point in time. When you're big and you're jacked and you look better than everyone else, you do get a little bit arrogant. I mean, but that's generally the case. Flex Wheeler is in really bad condition. I wish all the best for him. Yes, testosterone levels is genetic there. Some people have higher testosterone levels than others. But that's up to a doctor to decide. If you have low testosterone levels, then you probably do need a TRT. And then sometimes some people have too much testosterone and they need something. They need a little estrogen. Just think about those people back in the day, like Andre the Giant. Uh, where they grew 7 feet because of issues with their hormones and everything like that. So yes, it's definitely genetics. All right, folks, we got like 5 minutes left, so go ahead and get your questions in. Muscular development and muscle and fitness don't make as much money as they used to. Because remember, nowadays with the advent of internet and social media, if you remember the old muscular development magazines, they used to be 200 to 300 pages, and now they're like 50 to 60 pages. Not only that, back in the day, bodybuilders, the only way they can get their name known is by getting into a magazine. Nowadays with social media, there's no need for the magazines anymore. Writers don't make a lot of money there. Ron Harris has been in the industry for a long time, so he still consistently makes money there. A lot of times you have to. I'm also a writer as well, and the way I make money with that is a combination of that as well as affiliate marketing. I'll go into that one day there, so you'll hear more about. I'll probably show you how I actually use my writings in order to make money. Does porn have potential to? I probably no, it doesn't. Well, Mark Lobliner, like I said, he's an IFBB pro, so he's had to take gear before. So he's probably at a point to where his body's no longer producing any testosterone. So yeah, he probably does need to take TRT. If you take steroids long enough there and consistently, your body's going to cut off its natural T. That's the same thing with John Bravo. He has to take TRT, as well as Dave Palumbo and most other people, because their testosterone levels are gone. Their body no longer produces it. My body still produces testosterone because I wasn't on it for that long. And not only that, I cycled. I only took Tren for maybe a couple of weeks and then I got off of it. I took very light doses of it, 50 milligrams of Tren every other day. I did a cycle similar to back in the 70s here. That's why a lot of these golden age bodybuilders don't have to be on TRT. Dave Palumbo did the right thing by cutting down. These people that stay big like Nasser, they go to the grave pretty easy. Sort of like Greg Kovacs there. A lot of these big bodybuilders that have stopped competing and they try to hold on to that size, it's not good for you. I have never found Dave Palumbo sexually attractive in any way whatsoever. Dusty, I've even taken years off my life. I especially did that at the 2009 Night of Champions, my last show I competed. That's why I've not competed in such a long time afterwards. Because I did a couple of things that I really should not have done, and it's affected me physically. But I won't take it. I won't. I don't regret anything that I've done because you gotta live there. It's better to live a short life and live your dreams than to live a long life and never do the things that you want in life. There. I've never heard of Dr. Rand McClain. I know nothing about him. I'm sorry. I don't have an opinion about him. I'll look him up and see what he's all about there, but I can't properly answer that particular question. All right, folks, 2 minutes left. Get your questions in. Hmm. Hmm. What did it do to me physically? It screwed up my heart there. Uh, I'll go into more details. Yes, my private parts still work. Dusty, I did have a beard at one time, but I got rid of it there. That's just one of those. At some point in time, when you get older, you do decide to go get a beard. And I had a pretty long one, but then I got rid of it. I like being smooth. John Abdu, I like the guy. It's a shame what he did to himself. He really shouldn't have done that there. I looked all right without a beard. I looked all right with the beard. I'll post a picture up here after this show here. But, folks, it is midnight. And again, I want to thank you again for tuning in to the Midnight Run. Let's do it again, folks. And guys, y'all have a wonderful night. I want to thank everyone that contributed and donated, especially you, Pugman. As always, you take good care of me. You got to tell me about those tech stocks there, that's for sure. But folks, y'all have a good night. Always good talking to you. Take care. Gonna play some outro music. No, I'm going to bed raw.